Hey, so before I get started, I just wanted to take a moment and thank each and every one of you for the incredible response that I received last week when I launched the introductory podcast describing what faith and fitness was all about. Over 1,500 views, multiple questions and comments. Great questions, by the way, which I'm going to get to. Thank you so much. You shared it, you viewed it, you commented, you subscribed, you liked, all of the things that need to happen so we can get some great information out there about what faith is all about, what God has to say about the big things, and some fitness related topics. So thank you so much. Today we're going to deal with a serious question, something that many people are asking, especially in light of what's happening. Why does God allow natural disasters? Let's get to it. Someone once said, just as earthquakes create aftershocks, natural disasters create religious aftershocks. And I would have to agree with that, because anytime natural disasters happen in our world, it causes us all to stop and think, God, are you there? God, why didn't you stop it? God, I thought you were in control. God, do you really love us? And we think about these things. It's natural to think about them. And maybe you're listening to this and you don't believe in God, and this just kind of affirms why you don't, because if there was a God and he did love his people, why would he allow these things to happen? Those are all great questions, and I'm going to do the best that I possibly can to help bring some understanding from the biblical perspective, and hopefully a little peace and healing as I talk about these things that I want to talk about to you today. And by the way, if you've lost anyone, if you've been through some pain, if you've suffered through the recent events, I really want to say that I'm very sorry, and that I'm praying for you, and I hope that your heart heals, and I hope that you get through this and you're stronger on the other side for it. There's been so much that's going on. Hurricane Harvey and Irma and Jose and Katia and Lee and now Maria. Dozens of wildfires in California, Oregon, and Washington, and the couple of earthquakes that hit Mexico recently, and all while we're trying to reflect on the 16th anniversary of 9/11. I mean, come on. September has been just crazy. But I want to offer you three things that I pray will help you not only understand a little bit more about God, but also bring some peace and hopefully some healing to your heart. The first thing that I want you to know is this: we live in a broken world, and you don't have to have lived very long to know that things aren't perfect in this world. War doesn't feel right. Death doesn't feel right. Violence doesn't feel right. People getting sick doesn't feel right. My child hurting doesn't feel right. And especially these natural disasters, these can't be right. And so we kind of get that this world is broken. It's falling. The Bible says that there's a huge difference between the world that God originally created and the one that we now live in, that erupts with volcanoes and earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes and floods and tsunamis. We are living on what was once a flawless planet. The Bible teaches when God originally created this world, there was nothing dead. Everything was perfect. Man was designed to live forever. The world was going to be green, green, green all the time. But the Bible also teaches that when sin entered the world, all of nature was cursed. In fact, in Genesis 3:17, the Bible says, the ground is cursed because of you. By hard work, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. And so we understand from the biblical perspective that when Adam and Eve they were created, God said, all right, here's your perfect Eden, this garden. I'm going to give you one rule. Don't break the rule. If you don't break the rule, we're good. They broke the rule. They broke the rules. And anytime you break a rule, there's a consequence. We kind of get that. And the consequence that God gave Adam and Eve was kind of drastic. It was, okay, now you're going to die one day. And not only are you going to die one day, but the earth is going to die one day. And so God actually not only cursed the man to face a consequence of death one day, which we all get because everybody who's born eventually dies. We all understand that. But maybe you've never thought about it from the perspective of also the earth dying one day, and the earth going through a decay at this present moment, and ever since this consequence was handed down. And so we have to accept that we live in this fallen world. But here's what else the Bible says in Romans chapter 8, verses 20 through 22. The Apostle Paul, he's writing and he says, against its will, all creation was subject to God's curse, all of creation. But with eager hope, The creation looks forward to the day when it will join God's children in glorious freedom from death and decay. For we know that all creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. And so the Bible explains that when God handed down this curse, everything was cursed. And even the earth is longing for the day that it's made new again. And just like you and I, if you believe that one day God is going to renew our bodies and we're going to be with him one day, which I can't wait because I want to see the people that have already passed and gone before me, my father and other people that I miss so much every day. The Bible also says that the earth's going to be renewed one day. And the earth is actually saying, I can't wait for that day because I'm hurting, I'm dying. And so it shouldn't surprise us that when earthquakes happen and natural disasters happen, it's the earth dying. It's the earth kind of saying, hey, I'm not perfect. And here's what's going on. And so that was the consequence of sin. And you might be thinking, well, man, why do I have to deal with what Adam and Eve did? I mean, that doesn't seem fair. And I would agree with you. It doesn't seem fair. And I didn't think it was fair either when I was in fourth grade and Johnny threw a spitball at the wall and none of us could go play. We had to lose our recess because of it, the whole class. I mean, but more seriously, what about 9/11? I mean, airport security is never going to be the same because of what somebody, some evil people did that was beyond our control. And now we have to go through scanners and take off our shoes, and we have to face that consequence anytime we travel. And it's something that we didn't even do. And so we kind of get consequences, and sometimes they're drastic and sometimes not so much. In this case, God said, hey, you're going to die one day, and the earth is dying. So we can understand why it happens. What we don't understand is why God allows it to happen, because there are biblical references that say God actually used nature as a judgment. You know, the flood, Noah's Ark, and we see when God sent the plagues to Egypt and things like that. Am I saying that's what God is doing right now? That's not what I'm saying. So please don't hear me say that. But what I am saying is God chooses how he uses nature, and we don't know why. We don't know why he allows it, but we know we know why it happens. We just don't know why he allows it sometimes and why he doesn't other times. But we do know the second thing I want you to know, and I want you to understand, is that God is sovereign. In other words, God is still in control. And it doesn't feel like it right now. I know it doesn't feel like it right now. And especially depending on where you're at with everything that's gone on, you might think there's no way. But God is in control. He does have the power. There's nothing that's happened or nothing that's ever going to happen that he doesn't know about. He's sovereign. I think of the story in the New Testament when Jesus was here on the earth, and he was in the boat with his disciples, and there was this storm that came in the waters, and it felt like they were just going to get flipped and drowned, and Jesus is at the bottom sleeping because he has peace. And his disciples, they go down there and they grab him. They say, Jesus, we're going to die. You need to do something. And so in Mark chapter 4, verse 39, it says, when Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, silence, be still. Suddenly the wind stopped and there was a great calm. And so we believe and we know that God is powerful, and by his very word he can start and stop things. He's in control. Even when it doesn't feel like it, he's in control. The third thing that I want you to do and to know and to understand is that we could take an opportunity to take action and pray for somebody. We can take action and pray for somebody. This is a time where if you believe in God, you can post something that says, hey, I'm praying for Mexico. I'm praying for Puerto Rico. I'm praying for you. And not only just say I'm praying, because that's probably the least we can do, but to actually make a phone call, actually visit somebody, actually send some money somewhere. We could take action in these moments and show the love of God to a world that's so desperate in need of his mercy and his love. And there's something the Bible says that happens in all situations. And in Romans 8:28, God says this. He says, and we know that God causes everything, good and bad, to work together for the good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. And I know it doesn't feel like any good could come out of this. I know it doesn't feel like where's the rainbow at the end. But I promise you that God always does something on the other side of pain, on the other side of suffering. And if we allow him to, he will heal us, and he'll do something beautiful in our lives. So whether you believe in God or not, we can all agree that the world's not perfect, but God offers hope. And so even though everything that's been going on is happening, I want you to understand and remember, this world isn't perfect. God is still in control. And I want you to take some action and pray for somebody. This is Joe, Alvarado, Faith and Fitness Fridays. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. God bless you.